Good morning, everybody. This is the Nameless Show. Welcome one and all. I'm your host, domentora. This episode is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Honey. Jack Daniel's Honey. Drink it straight. There's a cat hair in my mouth. That ruined the read. Hold on. Oh. Having cats is the worst. And also the best. Drink it straight or be like domentora. Shake it up with some ice. Mix in about half and half with water. Pour it in a glass, and drink the whole fucking thing in one go, because you can't take a shot, but you still want that buzz. Jack Daniel's Honey. Drink it. Okay, this show's actually not, obviously, sponsored by Jack Daniel's Honey, but that'd be great. Jack, hey, get in on this. Get in on this. We're at 55 views between two episodes. One has 43, the other has 1. But that's not the point. The point is, not only have we crossed 50 views, which I'm going to look at as a win for a new series, a new thing on what was previously a dead channel, when I am not a big YouTuber or internet person or anything like that, I'm going to look at that as a win. I'm happy about that. The video announcing the series is sitting at like 26 views. The video before that, right about 120, but it was featured on a big channel, and it was a thing that nobody had done before. I'll go ahead and link that in the description. Why the hell not? It's a Call of Duty thing. If you like Call of Duty, you'll like it. If not, you won't like it. But speaking of Call of Duty, I'm actually going to be playing it while I record this. David, why are you doing that? Well, honestly, it's so that I can stay awake, because, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I dropped the ball again. It's now dark 30 in the morning on the date January 8th, 2016. Hope everybody has a great one. It is now somewhere around 2:45. David, why did you wait until 2:45 in the morning to record the video? Well, to be honest, I didn't feel like doing anything today. I really didn't. I turned off all my alarms because it's my day off. I don't have to go into work. I never set up alarms on my day off. Why would I? It's my day off. I don't want to wake up. I want to sleep in. So I set my alarms, took a muscle relaxer that I'm legally prescribed, assholes. Allowed to have that. Also took 10 milligrams of melatonin. Maybe that wasn't the greatest combo in the world, but I slept amazing and had some ridiculous dreams. So I think it was worth it. But either way, turned off the alarms, took a muscle relaxer, took 10 milligrams of melatonin along with that muscle relaxer. I slept like a brick until my boss called me at 11:30 needing my assistance. Because as I mentioned in the last episode, was it the last episode? I think it was the last episode. I ranted about my job in the last episode, right? Yeah, it was the last episode. I'm the only one in the store who knows how to do a lot of things. Many of these essential functions in the tech department, which makes about 65, alright, maybe closer to 50, makes the majority of the revenue for a single department, because there's also furniture, there's supplies, there's copy and print, to make, at the very least, half of what the entire store makes in one department when there are 6 or 7 other departments in the store is a pretty big feat. And I'm the only one who knows how to do a reasonable amount of stuff in that department. So, I get a call from my boss around 11:30, needing my assistance. I get a call every day off. I don't remember the last time I had an actual day off. Now, I'll be honest, I don't always answer the calls. In fact, I very rarely answer the calls because it's my day off. And I'm not a manager. I don't get paid manager pay. If I was getting paid manager pay, which, again, as we covered in the last episode, I'm not sure would actually be an improvement over what I get paid now, hourly plus commission. But if I were a manager, of course, I'd answer every single call. I'd have keys to the building. Who knows? Maybe they're calling me because they locked their keys in the office. And as of right now, there's no keys to get in or out of anywhere in the building that requires keys. Now, I do have keys, personally. They're only internal keys. They can't get me out the back door or in the front door. I can't even lock the gates, which is ridiculous because what possible reason could I have for unlocking the gates? Oh, he's breaking in. He's breaking in. He has no keys to the outside, but he has keys to the gates, which he wouldn't be able to get to the lock for because they're gates, and their primary function is to stand in the way of anybody trying to get into the building without keys to the building. Still not sure why I don't have that key. It would make closing a significant bit easier. But anyway, I don't need to answer every time. I should. I'll admit. But I don't need to answer every time. I should also probably clarify the Jack Daniels fake read. There was a reason for that. I'll let you deduce the reason for that on your own time. But there was a reason for that. And I'm also tired, obviously. But anyway, all that aside, so I get up at 11:30. I had to pee something, I don't care. Saw a text from my boss needing me to call the store, so I called the store. Talk to the boss, get the necessary information conveyed as quickly as possible. And then I just go back to sleep. Of course I go back to sleep. And I wake up again around 5 o'clock in the evening. Went to bed at 2:30 yesterday morning. I woke up at about 5 o'clock in the evening and actually got out of bed and got everything moving at 6. Now I still got done everything I needed to get done on the day off. I got the laundry I needed to get done, the dishes clean, the living room clean. I took care of my shit, but I took care of it in 3 hours instead of the 6 or 7 hours I'd allotted to it. And then I just started playing Call of Duty. Because at that point, I didn't feel like doing anything anymore. I'd overslept incredibly. Once again, I'd taken a muscle relaxer and the melatonin. I'd turned off all my alarms. It's on me that I overslept, but I did. And it did throw off my day. So I had to get a lot done in much less time than I meant to. And then once I got everything done, in half to a third of the time that I planned to get it all done, I was burned out. I didn't feel like doing anything. I went out. I left the apartment for 45 minutes, long enough to fill up my car so I wouldn't have to in the morning because I knew I'd be tired. I knew I wouldn't be able to fall asleep early. And I wouldn't be able to get that gas in my car in the morning. So long enough to get the gas and then go to Walmart, get my Dr. Pepper for the week, and get a couple Marie Callender's frozen dinners because let's be honest, while I understand it is cheaper, 99%, maybe not cheaper, McDonald's does have a dollar menu, but better for you to cook at home. Make your own pasta, make your own spaghetti meat sauce. I can get that Marie Callender's microwave pasta, which probably is not good for me. It is 15.6 ounces. That's almost a pound of food for $2.50. And all I've got to do is nuke it. It even comes with garlic bread. Done. Down. Sign me up. So I drink a bunch of Dr. Pepper. I get home. Yes, I drank Dr. Pepper on the way home. Obviously, I need Dr. Pepper to survive. Once again, Dr. Pepper, sponsor the shit out of me. You don't have to pay me anything. You just have to give me a card that gives me your product for free. You literally, all you have to do to sponsor this show. Now, granted, I've mentioned you in 2 out of 3 episodes so far, but you know what? I'm not even going to stop mentioning you. And then 55 whole people will not know your wonders. Is it not worth it to give one man unlimited Dr. Pepper as long as he's posting a low-budget, rarely viewed podcast? Is that not worth it? I think it is. I think it is. Dr. Pepper, get on it. And then I get home. And I'm like, well, I've gotten my chores done for the day. There's all sorts of other stuff I could do to be productive. You know, there's some computer work I need to do on my personal computer. I obviously have to record this podcast episode. I'm actually thinking of it ahead of time now, so I definitely have to record it. I can't put it off until Oh Dark 30 again. That was a mistake. That episode only has one view. That's horrible. Can't be doing that again. You know, I need to brush my cat. Obviously, no, don't get me wrong. I give my cat plenty of attention and love and pet him and all that, but the dude is shedding. It's January. I don't know if it's officially winter season, but it's definitely fucking winter. And the little bastard is shedding like it's the first day of summer. I didn't turn on my AC, and the temperature in the apartment is 150 degrees. That's what this little guy is doing for no freaking reason, so I have to brush him like 3 times a day. But I did nothing useful. I got my chores done. I got the necessities of the day that I'd earmarked. This is the stuff I will absolutely get done on this day done. I got my gas. I got my groceries. My delicious, necessary Dr. Pepper, of which I need another drink of. One of these. That's why I can't have cans, because I sit down, I play Call of Duty, and I drink Dr. Pepper, and then I don't actually... That one still has some in it, right? Yeah, there we go. And then, you know, so I throw away all the cans when I'm done playing Dr. Pepper. Playing Call of Duty. Wow, let me clarify. After I drink Dr. Pepper, I throw away the cans when I'm done playing Call of Duty, because in the meantime, I'm sitting here for like 3 hours playing video games. But while I'm sitting here, I'm not going to stand up every time I finish a can and throw it away. Why bother? Just throw them all away at once. And then I'm, you know, surrounded by 6 or 7 cans. David, you have an addiction. I'm aware. But it's not an addiction until I go through withdrawal symptoms. And I don't think that foods not tasting right when not paired with Dr. Pepper counts as a withdrawal syndrome. It should, but I don't think any medical journal would say that, you know, because steak doesn't taste right, or because this sandwich doesn't taste right, or because this cheeseburger tastes weird without Dr. Pepper accompanying it, that I have an addiction. I have an addiction to Dr. Pepper. We're going to stop talking about Dr. Pepper. Once again, this show, officially sponsored by Jack Daniel's Honey, which coincidentally, while I would not recommend as a mixer with Dr. Pepper, a glass of Jack Daniel's Honey pairs very well with a warm can of Dr. Pepper. There's still cat fur in my mouth. That's annoying. Shedding like a mother. Alright, that phrase doesn't... Let's talk about that phrase real quick. Like a motherfucker. What does that even mean? What does it mean? I want an honest answer. Anyone watching this, leave it in the comments. When people say something is like a motherfucker, what the hell are they talking about? Or is that just a thing that I hear on like TV, movies, something like that, but isn't actually said by normal people? Now, I know it's said by people in my friend group, but the people in my friend group aren't normal people. They're awesome. They're all awesome. But they're not normal people. So like a motherfucker, what does that mean? It's hot as a motherfucker. You look like a mother... Well, what is that? I'm going to stop musing about that because it's not the point of the podcast. The point of the podcast, if I'm not burping up Dr. Pepper, this is a drunk cast, is what it is, if we're being honest. This one's the drunk cast. I might even put that, you know, the Nameless Show, dash, civil forfeiture, Dr. Pepper, drunk cast, wow. It might just end up drunk cast. Dash, January 8th, 2016, which it is. I almost feel like I said 2015. That's actually been a problem at work. I've been writing 2015, where I should be writing 2016, because it's 2016. 2015 went by fast. It went by incredibly fast. The first third of the year for me, I was working 2 jobs. I was working where I currently am, and I was working for 7-Eleven, which in Oklahoma where I live, and I don't mind revealing where I live, I don't even mind people knowing my name, to be honest. 7-Eleven is actually wholly owned and operated as by the Brown family. It's well, I guess it's a franchise, but it's owned by the family. It's the only franchise of 7-Eleven in the world. Every other 7-Eleven is corporate. They're family owned. Now, a nice part of that, when I left, was $14.90 an hour. A bad part of that is, you know what? Aside from the place I currently work, they're the most recent thing on my resume, so I'm not going to badmouth them while I'm under the influence of Jack Daniels. Drink it straight, shaken with ice and water. Your call, just drink it. So, I may have lost my train of thought there. That's embarrassing. This is definitely going to be a low light in the Nameless Show Chronicles. In the anthology of the Nameless Show, this is going to be a low light. If I were a smart person, I'd cut it off here. 16 minutes in. And instead, stop it, record like 2 minutes of, hey everybody, this is domentora. I'm sorry I'm not posting a Nameless Show today. Some stuff happened on my day off, and it's not going to be up, but we'll see you on January 9th, January 11th, I guess it will be. Is that going to be how it works? I need to do some math. Is that going to be how it is? 1 week is even numbers, 1 week is odd numbers? I need to look into that. Clearly, this is a poorly planned podcast. In fact, while asset forfeiture was something that I really wanted to talk about, and I didn't even have the radio on while I was doing my driving of the day. I was rehearsing phrases and key points for the show, because asset forfeiture is something that's actually majorly influencing the community that I live in right now, and is a very important point that needs to be talked about to the extent that I even, in preparation for it, obviously without the intent of stealing anything from it, watched the John Oliver bit from last week tonight, which I'll go ahead and link in the description below, and again link when I make a not drunk cast about civil asset forfeiture laws. About said civil asset forfeiture laws. I was prepared, I was ready, and then, again, I got home, got my gas, got my Marie Callender's frozen pasta, got some other actual groceries, and got my Dr. Pepper. You know, the thing that I and everybody else in the world need to survive. And I just didn't feel like doing anything. And I think that happens not just to me, but I think that happens to everybody a lot when they oversleep that badly. Now, I'll admit that I get very burned out at my place of work, and my days off are needed. And unfortunately, while I have Sundays off specifically requested, the other day off I most commonly get, instead of Saturday, Sunday, or Sunday, Monday, is Thursday, which means I don't get my days off together. Now, if you've always gotten your days off together, if you routinely work in a, Monday through Friday job, or if you just work in a job that gives you your days off, in a chunk or at the same time. Say, for example, when I was at 7-Eleven, I was a night clerk and I worked 10-hour shifts, so I actually got 3 days off. But that 3 days off was always, without fail, 3 days off in a row. If you've always gotten your days off in a row or together, you don't really understand how almost inconsequential days off become when you don't have them in a row. Say, you've got 2 days off, and say it, averages out like I have it, where you get a Sunday off, you get a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days where you got to work, a Friday, Saturday where you're working, and then your Sunday off again. So you get 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, and it just repeats in that loop. It does get rough. Because the way that I typically think of having days off and the way that I work them whenever I have my days off together is giving myself the first day to do the chores that I need to do. You know, to take care of the laundry, to take care of any dishes that I may have blown off. You know, run errands, grocery shop, all those necessary chores you have to do to maintain your life outside of work. And then the second day is my day of, you know, social obligations or just relaxing. The second day off when you get, you know, when your days off are together is the day you get to relax. It's the day you actually have to unwind and de-stress, you know, sit down, take a load off, and enjoy your day off without feeling like you're working again. You're just working for yourself instead of working for the company that pays you to work for them. And when you don't get your days off together, you basically just get 2 chore days. Because you get that first day, you get that Sunday. And you know, you get to enjoy football and all that, but you know, I've got the laundry, you know, I've got work uniform to wash and all that. It's been worn since the last time it was washed. I got to wash it. Even if I have more than one pair of khakis, it's smart to go ahead and wash it. Because if you don't wash it, then you've got, you know, 5 days. And while I have enough khakis for 5 days, I'm a little bit arrogant. There's only 2 pairs I really like. Maybe that's just a me problem. But point is, when you get those 2 days off, you actually get time off. You get time where you get to decompress, enjoy your life, where you get to, or you should spend that first day just keeping that work mode going and taking care of everything you need to take care of. And then the second day is your actual day of rest. That's the best part about a Monday through Friday work schedule. Is you get to work those weekdays where everyone is supposed to work. You get that Saturday where the convention is to get all the chores done, and then you get that Sunday, that day of rest. That's not something you get when your days off are staggered. You have to do an incredible amount of life maintenance to make that work in your favor. And maybe I'm just lazy, but it rarely works in my favor. So what I choose to do is usually take one of those days as a day off, and the other day as a chore day. So instead of going, you know, 5 days working at work, 1 day working at home, and then 1 day where you're actually legitimately off, I get 5 days working at work. Well, I basically get the same thing. But I return to work after the day of work at home. I don't get the decompression right after the homework. And I think that I don't think it's good for me. And I honestly don't think it's good for everybody. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to complain, throw a fit, anything like that. There are lots of people who get no days off. They can't relax. They can't take a day off. They've got to hustle every single day to keep life going and keep work going and take care of themselves and their families and their lives. I get that. I'm not comparing my situation to yours. I think that's something that we do very often, is we compare how we can handle a situation or can handle a situation to how others can. You know, somebody, I don't know, here's an example. It's an old example, but here's an example. There was a girl in, I think it was 4th grade, who did not get elected to the little student council thing my elementary school had. Now, the girl who did get elected, while a great girl, was a complete teacher's pet. She got the terrific kid award. That was a little thing that my school system did monthly. Per grade, per school, she got the terrific kid award every month. She was popular, but all the teachers loved her, and the kids loved her too, because maybe I just went to a smart school, or maybe she was that charismatic, where we all realized, she's a complete teacher's pet, but she's a great person who's never done anything mean to anybody the entire time we've known her. Let's vote her into student council, and that's what we did. And she definitely deserved it. But another girl who, was equally nice and kind to everybody, but didn't have maybe the teacher support or the overall we think you can do-itiveness that the teacher's pet girl had, lost the election. And she was torn up about it. She was torn up about it, like emotional, like tears on the bus on the way home about it. And I remember I was the most unsympathetic dick that there could possibly have been for that situation. I didn't get why she was upset. I didn't care. Because I wouldn't have been that upset by it. I didn't even run. Partially because I knew I wouldn't have been elected, but I didn't even run. So obviously I didn't care. And instead of, now granted, I was in 4th grade. And there are a lot of adults who have the same issue. But instead of trying to empathize with her and recognizing that, while not a big deal to me, this was a big deal to her, I chose to laugh at her. And to have a little bit of maybe jealous because she was popular, or maybe just mean-spirited fun at her expense. Because, I wouldn't cry if I lost the student council election, not thinking about the circumstance between the two, where maybe, she cared about that student council election, and I wouldn't have, and really didn't. I think this girl, by the way, I think I actually did vote for her. I think I even had a crush on her at one point. But it's that inability to empathize that stands out to me in that memory. And it's something, if I thought it mattered to that person, or I was ever still in contact with that person, I probably would apologize for. They would probably go, "What the fuck are you talking about? I don't even remember that happening." But it's something I feel bad about. And I see it happen all the time. And I catch myself with it fairly often too. Now, I've become reasonably good at calling myself on it and not succumbing to it, I feel. But it still happens. Where, somebody will be going through something or have something happen in their life, and it affects them in an intense way, and I judge them for that. Just like some of you listening earlier may have judged me for having trouble maintaining my life when I don't have my days off together. Because I do. I do have trouble maintaining life and responsibilities and, home stuff, interpersonal stuff, social obligations, family stuff. I have trouble balancing and maintaining a good routine when my days off are staggered, which is, probably even less excusable given that my staggered days off are expected. They're an every week thing. I know every week, barring a holiday or some sort of crazy change where somebody's going on vacation, that I'm going to have that Sunday and that Thursday off. But it's still something that I struggle with. And some of you listening may judge me and say, "Hey, at least you still get 2 days off." Or, "Hey, if you did more on your time off work on days you work, you might not have this problem." While that may be a fair point, that doesn't change the fact that it's something I struggle with. Sorry. Delicious Dr. Pepper break. Very proud of that. Let me point out real quick. Oh, hey, the cops. Police do this routine patrol through my apartment complex. And every once in a while, they do it with lights flashing. And I'll never understand the point of that. It doesn't help them see better. A regular old spotlight would do a much better job than flashing lights. If anything, that would hurt their vision. All it's doing is letting people know that there's a cop driving by. But anyone who lives here knows that that cop driving by is going to drive by once, leave, and okay, we've got another 4-ish hours until the patrol. Light them up. Go outside, pee on a bush, whatever illegal shit you're going to do that a cop just slowly driving through the apartments would notice, which, let's be honest, is very little, especially on a Thursday night. I don't know many people who party on Thursdays. I'll never understand why they go through with their lights on. Maybe it's an attempted asset forfeiture. We're going to get into that. Maybe Monday. Maybe that's what we'll do Monday, because obviously, like I said before, I'll have Sunday off. If everything goes as is normal, I'll have Sunday off. I'll have time to prepare. I might even script a show and talk about asset forfeiture. But today we're talking about empathy. We're also talking about silent burps caused by 2 Marie Callender's frozen spaghetti dinners, which is not even just like a bachelor thing. This is the shit I ate when I had a girlfriend and when I had a semi-living girlfriend. This stuff's just delicious. And it's cheap. Once again, $2.50 for 15.6 ounces of pasta, meat sauce, and garlic toast. That's a good damn deal. That might actually be cheaper than making it on your own. Definitely cheaper than if you're hand making it. But that might actually be cheaper than just buying pasta and buying spaghetti sauce separately. And you know what? Now that I'm doing the math, it's not. It's not at all. But when you include in time, I think it's still a better deal. I'm lazy. Point is, Marie Callender's frozen pasta dinners, not sponsored by them, but a strong advocate. Marie Callender's, I'm giving you the same offer that I gave Dr. Pepper. Sponsor the show. You don't have to pay me a dime. All you have to do is send me 2 Marie Callender pastas, or really 2 Marie's Callender's, any frozen dinners, per podcast. That's all you have to do. 3 podcasts a week. It's 6 frozen dinners. You can't tell me that 6 frozen dinners is not a fair cost for getting advertised to 55 people, or 45, or however many it is. That's a fair deal, Marie Callender's. Take me up on it. Empathy! It's a first world problem, right? It's when you complain about, oh man, the auxiliary jack in my car isn't working and I can't listen to Rihanna off my iPod because the auxiliary jack isn't working. Well, man, let's talk about a first world problem. There's people in Africa starving. First, why do we always use Africa? There's people in America starving. There's people in Canada. There's people all over the world starving. I'm going to sound like a bleeding heart liberal here, but what kind of internalized racism is it that we always have to think about starving people in Africa as a guilt trip? Now, do people in bad situations in Africa need help? Yes, they need and should get help. Do people in bad situations worldwide need help? Yes, they need and should get help. But why are they used to guilt trip you when you... I'll never understand that. Never understand that. Once again, though, that's not the point. The point is that guy, that friend, and I think we all have him, who dismisses your troubles because it doesn't trouble them. You go out on a... You go to the gym with a friend, and they go, hey, let's do the treadmill. And in my case, I say, hey, I can't do the treadmill. I have a meniscus tear in one of my knees. I can't really run. Someday I can if I build up the muscle around my knee or if I get another surgery, obviously, but I'd rather not have to do that again. But if I build up the muscle around my knee and I train myself to run in a different way, then yeah, we can run on the treadmill. But first day back at the gym after a few weeks, the treadmill is not my thing. I'm gonna have to get on the bike or the elliptical. And the Fred says, "Oh, nah, my knees don't hurt. You'll be fine." Well, yeah, your knees may not hurt. You haven't had surgery. You don't have an active tear in the cartilage of your knee. Your knee doesn't hurt because it's not seriously injured and impairing you from performing the task you want to do. And everybody listening to this gets my point in that. Everybody listening to this empathizes with me in this moment and thinks my hypothetical friend is a dick. Right? Everybody listening to this says, well, of course it's different for you versus your friend. Your friend in this scenario doesn't have a meniscus tear in their knee. Your friend in this scenario doesn't have a legitimate medical injury preventing them from doing the task, and they're pressuring you into doing a task, or they're making you feel bad for not being able to do something that they can do. They're clearly a dick. Everybody listening to this with any level of sanity is thinking that. So why aren't we thinking this? Why aren't we thinking this for the same thing with somebody, with a broken auxiliary cord in the truck? Right? We don't know what that broken auxiliary cord person is when we're saying, yeah, well, at least you have an iPod. An iPod you can't use in your truck because your auxiliary cord is broken, but hey, at least you have an iPod. Or hey, you know what? Hey, it wouldn't bother me if my aux cord didn't work. And to be honest, most of the time I don't use I never use an aux cord. I have a direct plug-in from my iPod to my stereo system, but that's not the point. I'm content the majority of my drives listening to the radio. In my hometown, I pick up 3 different sports stations. That's all I need. I don't like top 40 radio. I get enough of that on the playlist at work. I don't like country anymore because bro country is the devil. I'm sure that'll also be a podcast episode eventually. I like classic rock, but that's what my mom listened to for my entire life. There's nothing new. I've heard it all. Even you can get tired of Foreigner. It's possible to get tired of Foreigner. So I listen to sports radio. But I got 3 different sports radio stations that I listen to. And that's enough for me. One of them even staggers its commercial breaks against the 2 competitors. So when one goes on commercial, I can pop over and listen to station number 3. Doesn't bother me, like I said, the majority of the time, that if my iPod plug-in or my aux cord didn't work, it wouldn't bother me, beyond the ability to charge my phone. But then there are some days where, I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling shitty. I'm not ready for the day. I don't know why. Maybe, a cute girl I've been talking to isn't talking to me anymore. Maybe I feel sick. Maybe 2 of my friends are in an argument and I don't know how to solve it. Maybe I just didn't get enough sleep the night before. Maybe I just broke up with somebody. Maybe I just got broken up with. There's a billion reasons that you could feel less than 100%. And maybe that morning I need to turn on some 21 Pilots. Maybe that morning I want to listen to some Watsky. Maybe that night on the way home, I'm still feeling like shit and it's something involving relationships, so I want to listen to old, sad, crooning, relationship, love-focused country songs that I can project my pain onto by singing along with. And my aux cord's broken, my USB's broken. Damn, I can't do that. Now I feel even shittier. Why is that any different? What is it about that situation that makes people say, yeah, well,
You shouldn't feel bad about that. There are people who don't have cars. There are people who don't have iPhones. There are people who don't have auxiliary ports in their cars. There are people like you whose auxiliary cords stop working and they just drive home and they're just fine. Why are there people who say that in that circumstance, but not in the Nia circumstance? And I think the reason is twofold. The first reason is just we're egocentric. We think the way we think. And while I think everybody understands that it's unreasonable to expect the entire populace to think the same way you do as an individual, some part of your mind still projects that onto everybody. You know, you see somebody at the bar take a shot of Everclear, and your thought is, oh God, disgusting, why would anyone do that? I would never do that. They're insane. And they're not insane, they just like Everclear and they can take a shot of it. There's nothing wrong with them. You see somebody driving a yellow car. I hate yellow. The color bothers my eyes. I like blonde. I think blonde girls are very cute. Yellow t-shirt, I'll never wear one. I won't decry you for wearing one. I've dated girls who liked wearing yellow. Not my thing. But I'll respect you. But will I ever willingly wear a yellow t-shirt? No. Will I ever buy or willingly drive a yellow car? If I have any control over it, no. Do I want anything whatsoever to do with that color? No, I hate yellow. Yellow hurts my eyes. I'm not a fan of it. If I never had to see that bright, obvious Crayola yellow again in my life, I will be content and happy. But I'm not going to hate on others who do like yellow. Right? But I judge people who do. It's not intentional. But I knew a girl in high school. She loved yellow. She was obsessed with yellow. Yellow car. Yellow clothing all the time. Sunflowers, something yellow all the time. Naturally blonde hair, but blonde hair. Kind of yellowish. Yellow iPod. Yellow, even her prom dress was yellow. It's just her Twitter handle or Instagram, whatever it is, has the word yellow in it. Yellow's her thing. And some little back part of my mind when I first met her and we first became friends in high school was, yeah, she's cool, but she's kind of obsessed with yellow. I don't like yellow. Nah. That's not fair of me, right? Because that's me projecting my bias, my likes, my dislikes, what I can and can't tolerate, what I can and can't handle, on somebody else. That's me saying, I can't handle yellow. I don't like yellow. The fact that you like and can handle yellow, you're weird. I don't relate to you there. I can't relate to you there, and I'm going to judge you for that. No, I never did anything like expressly mean to her. And it wasn't, it took me ranting about yellow one time to one person who knew that girl for them to be like, David, you know you're kind of being a dick. Even if you're not saying it, you're kind of being a dick judging her for her like of yellow just because you don't like yellow. Yeah, I was. And I stopped. Because a friend pointed out I was being a dick. But what about that aux cord? Right, I have a bad relationship day. Maybe a girl I'm dating and I get in a fight. Maybe a girl I like isn't talking to me for whatever reason. Maybe I ran into an ex the night before. Whatever it is, say I'm having a bad relationship day. And, from an hour into work all the way through, I'm looking forward to that drive home. I've got a playlist made of all my favorite, country songs about relationships that I can just sing to and I can just pour emotions out in and I can just live vicariously through those songs and get these emotions out. And I'm looking forward to it with all of my heart. Because this cathartic driving experience, where I'm even going to pass my apartments go all the way out to the lake, circle the lake a couple times, come back, just singing at the top of my lungs to the sounds coming out of my speakers, because that trip, that drive with that music, when I get back home, I'm going to feel better. And because I feel better, my life is better. Instantaneously. Sorry, I need a Dr. Pepper. And then I get to my car after work, and I turn it on, and I plug the cord into the stereo, and I plug the other end in my phone, and it's just not recognizing my phone. It's not even charging it, right? According to my stereo, my phone doesn't exist. The cord's bad. It's a bad cord. It went bad. Bad. Just wanted to say that word again. Well, now I'm feeling even worse, right? Because now, not only am I feeling the bad that I was feeling before I got to my car, the bad that I was feeling, for a while, for however long or at whatever intensity it was that made me decide that the best course of action for me to feel better would be to take a long drive with some of these, crooning country songs. Well, now I can't even do that thing that I was looking forward to all day. That I'd put my hope and determination in, that when I got to do this thing, I'll feel better. Well, now I can't do that. So I think with all that background, it's more than understandable for me to be bummed out and for me to have a hard time with the fact and dealing with not being able to do that. And with that extra background, I think everybody listening would kind of understand that, hey, that makes sense. You have a bad relationship day. You turn to music to make it better. But your iPod's not working. You can't put on the songs that you need for this situation. You don't get to make it better. That sucks. I feel for you, man. But without that background, what are you thinking, right? If I were to come on the show this morning and say, man, right off the bat, hey everybody, welcome to the Nameless Show. I'm your host, domentora. I gotta be honest, my night last night was terrible. I couldn't plug my phone into my car to listen to music on the way home. I had a terrible day yesterday. I couldn't listen to music on my way home. You would all judge the absolute shit out of me, right? Was it my job to give you the backstory to that? Well, me personally, yes. That's the whole point of the podcast. But in general, if a person feels bad about something, or is having a hard time with a specific situation, or with life in general, is it their job to give you the backstory and every detail about why they're struggling, simply to prevent you from being a judgmental asshole regarding their struggles? No! Of course it's not. Just like it's not yours to give to them if you're struggling. I had a lot of trouble in high school. Because I didn't do homework. I didn't do homework. That was not a thing that I did. David doesn't do homework. Well-established fact. You say, well, why don't you do your homework? You just buckle down and do your homework. It's not hard. Okay. Good. For you as an individual saying that, doing your homework is not hard. For me, it was. Because homework was never something I had to do up until 10th grade in high school. Really 11th grade. Because I knew all the stuff already. Or I could pick it up just sitting in class. I didn't need to do repetitious math problems over and over and over again to learn math. I knew it already. I didn't need to do a daily homework assignment over U.S. history. Reading the book was all I needed. I knew it. I didn't have to write a 5-paragraph page over it to sink it into my head. I knew it from reading the book. So by the time I actually had to start doing homework, by the time I couldn't immediately pick up on concepts, I was in, 10th, 11th grade. Whereas, most people get those study skills and get those time management skills and get those homework skills under their belts, in second and third grade. Well, they have time to mess up, and they're young, and they can get that under their belt. And they're better at it than I am. And as a result, my grades dropped. So I went from being it's David, he's the nerd, he's going to ace the class, he knows all this shit, to, it's David, he's probably going to get like a C and barely squeak by and not show up for like 9 classes. And there's a lot of judgment that goes with that. Because, somebody would ask me, hey, David, I thought you were smart. I literally got that question one time. David, I thought you were smart. Why are you bad at this? I think it was Algebra 2. And it was somebody I'd gone to elementary school with where, my first email was MathWhiz at my parents' website. And they asked me, David, I thought you were supposed to be good at this. And my answer was, sorry. I have no idea what I'm doing here. And then say, well, that's weird. How am I? Well, I guess I'm just smarter than you then. Or the worst one, well, I guess you're just bad at this. I guess you're not as good as we all thought you were. And yeah, maybe you guys thought I was really good at Algebra 2 going into Algebra 2. It's possible. Not on me, but it's possible. I cultivated an image of me being smarter than everyone else. I was very proud of that image. But then I got to a point where I couldn't coast through, where I had to study and I had to do research and I had to actually do the math homework in order to know how to do the math. And I couldn't ace my classes simply based off test scores because I couldn't ace those tests anymore. Because I actually needed to do that homework to nail these equations into my brain. And the lack of understanding, not just from teachers, although it was there from teachers, most of them had seen that kind of thing before, right? Where somebody coasts through the majority of their schooling, and then when they finally get to a point where they can't coast anymore, they don't know how to cope. Most teachers see that a lot, but the students don't notice it. And the amount of people, especially my senior year, both in my friend group and just people who knew me or knew of me, that I got judgment from for not being the smartest person in the classroom, for not having the most insightful thing to say, was startling. And what was I supposed to do? Explain to everybody, hey, from kindergarten until 9th grade, I was smarter than your dumbasses. I knew all this shit. I could read the textbook or or see that math equation done on the board once and never have to repeat it. I just got it. So I didn't do any homework and still blew all your grades out of the water even though you were spending 5 hours a day on homework. But now I don't know this shit immediately, like you don't, because those people who did homework all the way through school were doing homework then too. They didn't get that shit immediately like I did. Now I don't get this shit immediately, but now here's where you guys beat me out. You actually know how to deal with not understanding a concept immediately via homework and research and studying and all that. I have no idea how to properly do that. I can't manage my time like that. That's not something that I've ever had any experience with in my life before. So that's why your grades are better than me. Sorry, name of person to break it to you. You're not smarter than me. But you're definitely better at Algebra 2 than me. Because you know how to study. Shouldn't get judgment for that, right? I'm not saying people should have said, "Oh, David, you don't know how to study. Your life must be so hard." In a serious way, no. Some of that's on me. A lot of it's on me, right? I should have still been doing the homework when I knew the stuff immediately. That was still part of the grade, right? If I were that smart, I should have realized early on how essential that homework would be. If I were really, really, really smart, I would have sat down, made a homework plan, and then had the self-control to adhere to it, right? But I guess I was just one level smart. Smart enough to not have to do homework until late 10th, early 11th grade, at which point I didn't know how to do homework. There's some judgment for that, right? And I think that's something we all experience in one way or another. Where there's something that we struggle with that other people may not, and we don't empathize with that. We don't sympathize with that. We don't have the ability to say, hey, I know you went through a bad breakup, but what you're doing here ain't the right thing. She was a bitch. He was a dick. Why are you upset? Your life is better now that they're gone. I don't get why you're upset. We don't have a right to do that, right? Take something even more serious, right? We're going to say cutting. I don't get it. I mean, I get it in terms of psychology, of the need to feel something, to validate yourself, or to make sure you're alive. And even then, anybody listening to this who cuts or has cut is probably saying to themselves, "No, David, that's not it either." I don't get it. And it's something I would never do. It's not a reaction that I would have to a life scenario. There's never been a time in my life where I thought the appropriate thing to do, or the best thing to do, or the only hope I had, was to cut myself. There have been times I've allowed myself to get hurt, where I've seen an injury coming and thought, I could avoid this. Fuck it. There's been that. But there's never been a time I have intentionally gone out of the way to cause myself an injury. Once again, I've done stuff that I knew would probably hurt me. But it's a different mindset, right? Between, riding a longboard without a helmet, crashing and bonking your head, versus, actively doing something with the intent, with the goal in the end to hurt yourself, right? But if I have a friend who cuts, as I did multiple times in high school, multiple friends, I guess, at least would be the better way to phrase that, I never told them, "Hey, just stop cutting." Well, at least I hope I didn't. Not perfect. But I hope I never told them, "Hey, just don't cut. It's not that big of a deal. Just don't cut. You'll be fine. There's other things you can do. Just don't cut." Right? It's not a big deal. Whatever's bothering you right now, not a big deal. It's the same thing. It's that inability or borderline refusal to empathize with people. And that's something I need to work on. That's something you, the listener, needs to work on. And that's, first of all, something you need to admit you need to work on. Because when I was talking earlier about not having 2 days off in a row and how that was hard for me, you judged me on that. You said to yourself, "Hey, I don't get 2 days off in a row, and I still handle fine." Or, "Hey, at least you have a job." Whatever you said to yourself, you judged me on that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't judge people. Those snap judgments are sometimes very important. When I'm walking out of the bar, and I see a dude, and I think, man, that guy looks creeperific. I'm not going to walk over there. I'm going to stay over here. That's good. That's okay. Not all judgments are bad. If some sketchy kids come into my work, I'm going to think, you know what? They're wearing really baggy clothing. And this isn't a race thing. Let me clarify that. But, you know, the girl is wearing a trench coat and it's July. You know, the guy is looking around and pausing every time he sees somebody who works here. They came in at separate times but from the same car. I'm not going to walk up to them and say, hey, are you stealing shit? But I'm definitely going to judge them and act accordingly. I'm not saying you can't judge people. I'm saying you can't be an asshole. Is it okay for you to, if somebody says, man, I had a rough day and then I couldn't play my music on the way home and it was just ruined and I'm really upset right now. Is it okay for you to think, really? You had a rough day, you couldn't play your music on your way home and now you're upset and you're sad? Really? You couldn't play some music? Dude, get over it. Is it okay for you to think that? Sure. There's no thought police. That's a great thing. You can think whatever you want. If you want to be a racist dick, you can be a racist dick in your head. If you want to look at every guy you see and say, man, I'd like to stick my dick in that, or man, girly voice, manly voice, I don't know, whatever PC voice, man, I like that dick in me. You want to think that? Sure, you can think that all day long, but you can't say it. You shouldn't say it. If you wanted to think, hey, David, that kid used to be really smart. There must be something wrong with him because now I overheard him with the teacher. He's failing this class. I always thought he was smart. He must not be that smart. Is it okay for you to think that? Yeah. Is it okay for you to go up to David after class and say, hey, David, I thought you were smart. What the fuck? It turns out you're a moron. No, that's not okay. Is it okay for you to think, wow, you couldn't have your music, you fucking pansy? That's fine. You can think that. You don't act on it, right? You don't actually say that to your friend. You don't tell your friend, oh, you couldn't have your music, so you had a bad night. Get the fuck over it. No, of course you don't. Get over it is never a valid answer. Because it's refusing to acknowledge that the person you're talking to is having a struggle at all. And that's something that should never be done. If somebody is confiding in you, or even if you've just picked up on the fact that somebody is having a hard time with something, your default response can never and should never simply be, get over it. It's dismissive. It's showing a lack of caring, and it is proving their point. Whatever's bothering them, if the default reaction of somebody who finds out about it is, okay, just get over it, then that's making it worse. Because now you're adding on the fact that they shouldn't care. And that's not okay. In 6th grade, for me it was the summer before 6th grade that Half-Blood Prince came out, the Harry Potter series. And Snape killed Dumbledore. And I was in a book club in 6th grade toward the end of the year. And the discussion came up of, is Dumbledore, dead? Is Dumbledore dead? Or is he alive? And there was one girl, I'll never forget this, and the story's actually popped up multiple occasions since then, even talking to this person, was adamant that Dumbledore wasn't dead. And I, as a 6th grader, could not empathize with the connection she had to that character, with the importance it was to her in this series, and she was an ultra fan of this series. I've never met somebody who was a bigger fan of the book series. I'm clarifying the book series for a reason, but of the book series. I couldn't relate and didn't even think to try to relate to the idea that it was important for her, not only as a fan, but whatever life stuff she was going through at the time, to hold on to the idea that Dumbledore wasn't dead. That Dumbledore was still alive, that Dumbledore would come back, and I guess he kind of did when he talked to Harry in the Deathly Hallows. And by the way, anyone watching this, no spoil warning. Fuck you. These books have been out for like 10 years, okay? Get over it. Actually, holy shit. That was literally almost 10 years ago. Right? 6th grade for me was 2005 into 2006. Holy shit. That was 10 years ago. This instance was probably like 3 months away from being actually 10 years ago. Fucking throws me off. I'm 22. I shouldn't have this kind of situation. I shouldn't be able to look back on something that had an impact on me, informing who I was, or this is 10 years ago. Holy shit, that's blowing my mind just thinking about it. That was 10 years ago. Holy shit. That means it's been over 10 years since I've been out of the country. That's a bummer. Well, Bahamas. But even then, Bahamas is like 8, 9 years? Shit, I need to travel more. The point is, at no point did I think to even attempt to empathize with her. Or even understand why, hey, this girl just will not accept that Dumbledore's dead. The book clearly states he's dead. J.K. Rowling doesn't really have a habit of bringing people back to life. Every bit of logic that I can decipher from this series says he's dead. And she knows the series 1,000 times better than I do. There's no way she can actually think he's still alive just based off the books, right? So there must be a connection with the character or something in a person. There must be a reason that is beyond my justifiable ability to challenge for her to say so adamantly that Dumbledore's dead. I can still stand on my position that he isn't dead. I can still stand on my position that he is. But I shouldn't directly argue with her and be a dick about it, right? No, I shouldn't. Now guess what I did? I directly argued with her. I was a dick. I upset her to no end. And I regret it. It was a douchey thing to do. Because I didn't even think to empathize. And that's what I feel is the biggest issue that many people have. It's not that we don't want to empathize. It's not that they don't want to empathize and sympathize and take into account the fact that they may not understand all of the reasons why somebody feels bad about something. It's not that people don't want to. I think it's people don't think to. It's I didn't think. Hey, maybe there is a reason that she doesn't want this character to be dead beyond the storyline of this book. I shouldn't work my ass off at convincing her he's dead. Right? 4th grade. Hey, I need to think that maybe getting on this student council that even in 4th grade, I understood served no real purpose. Nobody was going to put root beer in the water fountains. Although if I'd have run out of promised Dr. Pepper, let's be real. No one was going to get longer lunches or better pizza at lunch or pizza parties or whatever else they promised. None of that stuff was going to happen. In 4th grade, I understood that an elementary school student council had very little impact on my education or life. It didn't matter to me, so obviously I didn't run. But because it didn't matter to me, I couldn't really sympathize with this girl who was so obviously heartbroken about not getting elected. But when I made fun of her on the bus for not getting elected and for having the reaction she was having, I felt horrible that night when I got home. I felt horrible every day after that. And obviously, at 22, when that was in 4th grade, which for me, 2003, 2004, I was in a very convenient graduating class. I graduated class of 2012, which means that the end of every school year was also that year of the 2000s. So 4th grade, 2003, 2004, 12 years ago. And it's still a memory that I have and think about and wish I had done differently. And it's not that I necessarily wanted to add on to this girl's grief by questioning and telling her it wasn't a big deal and she could just get over it. It was that I didn't even think, hey, maybe this is a big deal to her. You know, hey, maybe Dumbledore dying is a big deal to her. And even if I don't know why, and even if, I were to be told why and still didn't understand it, I need to just accept and respect that it is. In 8th grade, as a joke, as a prank, I, slapped the binder of one of my best friends. And some of his papers flew out. It's something that me and a few other friends of mine have been doing all day. It was just something, that day we decided we're going to slap each other's binders. It wasn't picking on this particular friend. It was a 5-person friend group, and 4 of us are doing it to each other, and I was just the first person to do it to him, and he hadn't done it to anyone else. And he freaked out. And I didn't understand. I wasn't sympathetic. I was like, hey, man, who cares? Yeah, your paper's flying away in the wind. Look, I'll go grab it. Oh, here's your paper. See, I picked it up. Oh, no, there's another one on the ground. I'm going to pick it up. Whoop. He rears back. Boom. Kicks me right in the ribs. I threw up instantly. Just poof, whoop, bleh. Actually, fun story about that. We all got a good laugh out of that because the puke was in the shape of the United Kingdom, including Northern Ireland. Like perfect. Like we took a picture with the cell phone, took it inside to the library immediately afterwards, found a map of the United Kingdom, perfect geographical replica of the United Kingdom. It was amazing, and I wish I still had that picture. It didn't seem like a big deal to me. And his reaction to me smacking his binder and a few of his papers flying out, I didn't understand it. I didn't think to understand it. Before I did it, I didn't think, hey, this guy hasn't participated in any of this. Education's a real big thing to him. He's got a lot of family stuff going on. And getting high grades in school and scholarships may be the only way he gets into college. And even though it's 8th grade, he's probably well aware of the amount of effort he's going to have to put into his public school and his primary education in order to actually get into a secondary school. I didn't think of any of that, right? I just did the thing. And then instead of afterwards saying, oh my God, Michael, you know what? I just realized that was a horrible thing to do to you. I'm so sorry I did that to you. I'm going to figure out a way to make it up to you. In the meantime, let me grab these papers for you. Let me get them all back in order. No, I said, dude, get over it. It's not a big deal. Look, here's your paper, la-da-da-da-da. And he kicked me in the ribs. You know what? I'm not saying violence was the answer in that situation, but I'm not going to say I didn't deserve it either. Now, I think you'll notice the examples that I'm rolling with. A girl in 4th grade, a girl in 6th grade, a guy in 8th grade. This is all older stuff. And it's not that I'm not guilty of it now. I still think like that all the time. All the time. But after about 9th, late 10th grade in high school, I got to work, trying, and obviously not succeeding every time, but trying to not say those thoughts. To not put that out there. Because I had a friend who went through some hard stuff. she went through a really rough period in her life where, at home and in a bad relationship and at school, it was this combination, this trifecta of things, all of which were nothing but bad things happening. And there were people around her, and there were people in my friends group who didn't necessarily know about thing 2 and 3, only about thing 1, and made fun of her. Because, you're going to therapy because so-and-so broke up with you? Really? Okay. Not knowing that, yeah, that person broke up with them, but that person also sexually assaulted them. And then this thing's also happening in their home life that would be a major stressor and a major event to anybody. And then those two things are causing her a pretty serious emotional strain, and that's draining her grades, and that's not helping either. But see, the people now, I knew all this stuff. I knew what was going on. By 9th grade, I had my future career path settled. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Counseling and therapy, that is what I wanted to do, and that's what I was good at. And starting actually in 8th grade, I got to be Dr. David. Where in 8th grade, I had the popular kids coming to me who had no actual girlfriend before 8th grade. And then pretty much the entirety of 8th grade through, right before the start of 9th grade, was long distance dating a girl who I'd known for a lot of years. We went to a summer camp together. And by long distance, I mean like a 40-minute drive. But my parents didn't want to drive me, and I was too young to have a car, so we'll call it long distance. The popular kids were going to me for relationship advice. Because I was good at it. Wasn't. I had the best life experience, but I was really good at it. And then they started going to me for home advice. And I got this nickname, Dr. David. That's what I was, Dr. David. Where people would come to me with things that nobody else should know, and I probably shouldn't even know. Sometimes things I wasn't even comfortable helping them with. That still happens to me to this day, where somebody will come to me and say, "Hey, Dr. David, you remember when you helped me out with that thing all those years ago? Well, I have this thing going on now, and I need somebody to talk to, and you're the one." I'm like, "No, I don't want to." I knew the whole trifecta, the entire story of what was going on with this girl. It was like the perfect outside observer look, where I saw the people who had been in my role in 4th grade and in 6th grade and in 8th grade, who didn't know or just didn't think about the full story before making fun of her, before never even trying to relate to her, never even trying to say, all right, well, she's going to therapy. Even if she is only going to therapy because this guy broke up with her, maybe him breaking up with her really hurt her. Maybe he did something to her that requires therapy, or maybe she's just the kind of person who can't handle that very well and needs some help with it, and I should understand that and shouldn't be a dick about it. Let alone, maybe there's all sorts of this cornucopia of bad, borderline tragedy on some of it going on, that's put her in this situation where therapy is almost the only hour of the day she has, aside from, texting Dr. David, that she ever feels like anyone even is trying to understand and help her. And once I saw her in that situation, I got to think about all the times in my life where I'd had trouble, almost the entirety of elementary school, where I didn't really have a friend until probably the after-school program in late 4th grade with that girl I made fun of Harry Potter for. And not really a close friend who I went to his house and hung out with him. I didn't really have that friend that I just, on the weekends, I wanted to spend time with, until a guy named Antonio in 5th grade. Now, by 6th grade, I had all sorts of friends. Something clicked in 6th grade, and I had all sorts of friends. And ever since then, my phone's got a lot of contacts in it. And they're not just people I added, for work and never actually talked to. But through the majority of my elementary school, I didn't really have friends. I didn't have people coming over to my house. I wasn't going over to other people's houses. Outside of, the birthday parties, where if you gave out invitations in class, the school rule was you had to give it out to everybody, so no one felt left out. That didn't mean people came. There were a lot of my parties where the people who came were because their parents made them. Or because, we feel bad for David. And there were some that were legitimately my friends. There was one guy, Landry, I was friends with from third grade on. And there were a lot of people I was school friends with, but I didn't have outside of school friends until the Harry Potter Girl in the After School program. And Antonio in 5th grade. Then by 6th grade I had Gary and Michael and Antonio and Landry and Johnny and Patrick, and the list just goes on and on and on, and then it just built up every year after that, until I'm where I'm at now, where I've got plenty of friends. I can always hang out with somebody if I want. That's nice. But during elementary school, I didn't have a lot of friends. Almost none for a lot of it. My parents were going through a nasty divorce. I had one parent going through some serious issues. I had been diagnosed with, though I have a very strong personal opinion on early diagnosis of depression in children who are going through major life traumas like nasty divorces and no friends in school. With depression, and I was dealing with that. And through a lot of elementary school, I did stuff just for attention. Make a big show of farting in class, right? Yeah. Make a big show of being smarter than everyone else. Did that come back to bite me in, high school when I didn't know how to study and maybe been smarter than everyone else but not as knowledgeable as everyone else? Oh, yeah. It took any chance I could to make fun of other people, to feel like I was part of the group, like when I made fun of that girl on the bus for not getting elected to student council. And I didn't have a lot of friends because people didn't like me. Because these elementary schools, and I'm not blaming them, you can't blame elementary schoolers for this, but these elementary schoolers didn't stop to think, hey, you know what, maybe his life sucks. Now, maybe my life wasn't as hard as other people. There were people whose parents were dead. There were people who were extremely poor. It's all a context thing. Maybe for him, what he personally is going through is more than what he as an individual can handle. Maybe he does this stuff for attention because he feels like he isn't getting it at home and he doesn't feel like he has any friends. And, going to school in 3rd grade and farting and making a big show out of it is the most attention he's going to get today. That's the most anyone's going to notice he's alive. And that, 30 seconds of everybody going, oh, that's disgusting, David, what's wrong with you? Go to the other side of the room, is the most anyone's going to pay attention to him. And the best and most alive he's going to feel today. And I thought back to that. And how there was nobody there to sympathize with me, to empathize with me, or to stand up for me when I was going through that, because not even because they didn't want to or because they were trying to be mean, because they didn't bother to learn it, because they didn't even think of it. And I thought back to any other time in my life where what I was going through may have been to the uninformed outside observer not a big deal, but to me was a tragedy. And then I thought back to 4th grade, and back to 6th grade, and back to 8th grade, and back to any other time where I was on the other end. Where I was the one not thinking of the other person and what they're going through, and just going in with this uninformed or singularly focused mindset of, why are you upset about this? You shouldn't be that upset about this. I want to be that upset about this. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm going to poke fun at you, or I'm going to not understand, or I'm just going to be a dick. And in that almost singular lunch period, in mid-May 2010, it's like something snapped. And obviously, again, I've not been perfect about it. And I'm still very judgmental. But it's like something snapped inside of me that said, hey, keep it the fuck to yourself. And I think that's maybe the best thing you can do as a human being for other people. Is to sometimes just keep it to yourself. Is to understand and acknowledge that just because something isn't a big deal to you doesn't mean it isn't to them. Is to not attempt to take away the validity of their struggles because you don't think that it's a big deal. It's the first world problem thing I briefly mentioned earlier. When my internet goes out, it's not right, it's not fair, and it's not any level of basic human understanding to tell me, oh no, your internet's out, you're going to have to play, Call of Duty campaign mode. Yeah, sure. But Call of Duty Online multiplayer is my escape. It's something I'm really good at, and when I play it, it makes me feel better about myself. It's that thing that I allot myself an hour and a half every day to do, because it's just this endorphin activating good feeling that right now I don't get through very many other things. Every day I'm single is a new record for me. I don't see my friends as often as I used to because we're all growing up and we all work more than we don't. I don't have a roommate right now. I don't see my family very often. And I don't even talk to people that much because, I'm a guy, I have mostly guy friends and we don't text each other 24/7. And I have a few girlfriends, but we also don't text each other 24/7. I mean female friends, not dating girlfriends. For me, that experience of getting that hour and a half every day of playing Call of Duty multiplayer and just stomping on people and having fun and going on those big score streaks, or even the times where I get in a lobby and it's a real challenge and I have to try my best to win, is just this emotional time for me that helps me get through my life and helps me through my days. So it's easy to surface dismiss that, hey, your internet's out so you can't play COD. Get over it, you dick. Go do something else. Go watch a movie. Go read a book. All right, but watching a movie or reading a book doesn't take care of that's not the same thing. So I think that that's just so incredibly important for us to do as a collective. And anyone who's listened to this episode for this long, I can't encourage you to do anything more than this one thing, and that is understand that you don't understand. Recognize that you aren't the same person as somebody else. Acknowledge that you cannot ever fully understand another human and their struggles. And once you've done that, you will find yourself not only a much more likable person, but a much happier person. Because you won't be pushing other people away, and you won't be hurting other people, and you won't be coming home in 4th grade with that guilt of, oh man, I made a girl cry today. Or in 6th grade with that guilt of, oh man, I made a girl cry today. Or on 8th grade with that guilt of, man, I made my buddy cry today. Because you took that extra millisecond between thinking that judgmental thought and saying that judgmental thought to let it run through your mind. You know what? I don't know the full story here and I can't. I'm not going to say my judgmental thought. I may keep it, I may hold on to it, I may even firmly in my head stand by it. I may firmly believe that my friend Gary, who I love and will be a guest on this show, and the fact that his internet is sometimes slower, I may firmly believe that that is a shit excuse for not wanting to play Call of Duty with me sometimes. Oh no, your internet connection's bad, so sometimes you're on a 3-bar instead of a 4-bar. Woo, big deal. Get over it, hop on the internet and play COD. I may think that, but I know that's not all there is to it. You know, he's in a relationship. Maybe he doesn't want to play COD with me because he wants to spend time on the phone with his girlfriend. He still lives with his family. He has family commitments. Maybe he doesn't want to play COD with me because of that. Maybe he just needs a night where, just like I with COD, where he wants to chill out with Bloodborne or whatever other game he feels like, and just him, and just chill out and escape into this video game world and have that night of just him time. And that's all stuff that you have to make yourself think before you say anything. When you think that thought of, you know, dude, your internet's bad. Okay, big deal. Get over it. Hop on, play the video games. And then you say, hey, that same thing. You need to add that extra level of, you know what? Maybe that's not all there is to it. Maybe I don't know the full story. Maybe he's got a good reason for not wanting to play with me tonight. I should respect that. Now, maybe I'll still give him some shit about it. And I always do every time. I'm going to be honest. I still give him some shit about it. You know, you don't want to play video games with your best friend who used to drive you to the movie theater every single weekend. Man, well, you know, I guess, you know, you're a user, huh? You're just such a user. But at the end of it, we're both laughing. And I make it very clear, you know, hey, I'm just messing with you, man. You go have your good night. Let me know if you change your mind and you want to play. I'll probably be on. I appreciate talking to you. You want to go to the brew house tomorrow night? Yeah, sure, I'd love to go to the brew house tomorrow. All right, we'll go to the brew house tomorrow night. You have a good night, man. Enjoy your game. So that's my challenge. To anyone who's listened this far, and I guess challenges are a big thing on my channel. Who knew? And I challenge myself, I guess, to keep posting these damn podcasts. Which this one, new record, by the way, 1 hour and 32 minutes of me basically saying the same thing over and over again. How anyone could listen to this point is beyond me. But that's my challenge to you, the listener, is understand and accept that you don't understand. And with that in mind, change how you interact with the people around you. Because there's nothing wrong with judging people in your head. But there's everything wrong with letting that judgment out in the world. Most of the time, we can all agree Donald Trump is a dick. And on that note, thank you everybody for listening to The Nameless Show. Once again, I'm your host, Domentora. Don't forget to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Share it. This is a very important episode. I think I touched on something that means a lot to me. And anyone who actually listened to it would probably mean a lot to them. Because I think we can all think of situations in our life where we were the douchebag, but we were also the person being douched. I guess, I don't really know how to transfer that over. So share it. You know, get people to listen to 1.5 hours of me rambling on. We've now done an entire week. They say it takes 2 weeks to make a habit, or is that 2 weeks to break a habit? I'm not entirely sure. Either way, we've done a week. First week of 2016 is in the books. January 8th, 2016. Everybody have a great day, a great morning, and because I won't see you again until Monday, a great weekend. I'm your host, Domentora, signing off. Have a great day.